Val Kilmer, the legendary actor known to generations for his unforgettable roles in Top Gun, Batman Forever, and The Doors, has died at the age of 65. His passing marks the end of a chapter in Hollywood, a chapter filled with both triumph and tragedy, with iconic performances that touched millions and a personal journey that unfolded far from the spotlight, often in silence and solitude. Kilmer's life had always been something of an enigma. On screen, he was magnetic, powerful, and deeply compelling. Off-screen, he was a fiercely private man, known more for the characters he brought to life than for public appearances or tabloid stories. But even behind the veil of privacy, it was clear that Val Kilmer lived a life of complexity and passion. His death, attributed to complications from pneumonia, comes after years of health battles that began with a diagnosis of throat cancer in 2014. That diagnosis would forever change the course of his life and career. When Kilmer was first diagnosed, many of his fans were unaware of the severity of his illness. He kept much of it to himself, retreating from the public eye as he underwent a series of painful and aggressive treatments: chemotherapy, radiation, multiple tracheotomies. These medical interventions were necessary to save his life, but they came at a high cost. Kilmer lost the full use of his voice, once a trademark of his screen presence, and with it, a vital part of his artistic identity. The voice that had delivered lines with intensity, wit, and soul now came through a mechanical device. Yet even then, he refused to be silenced. In a world where fame often craves visibility, Kilmer took a different route. He stepped away. He embraced the quiet. And in that space, he sought meaning. His struggle with cancer was not just a physical battle, it was a spiritual one. Stripped away the glamour of the red carpet and the bright lights, revealing a man who had to confront mortality in its rawest form. And he did so with resilience, grace, and an unshakable commitment to his art. By 2021, Kilmer was declared cancer-free. But the aftermath of the disease, and the treatments that had saved him, left him with lasting health issues. Reports from those close to him revealed that he spent much of his final years bedridden, under constant care. The vibrant actor who once commanded the screen with every movement was now confined, his world shrinking as his body betrayed him. Till even in those moments, Kilmer found ways to create. He remained involved in film and visual art, relying on technology and collaborators to bring his ideas to life. The creativity was not just his career, it was his lifeline. His death, while not entirely unexpected given the progression of his illness, has sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry. Colleagues, co-stars, and fans around the world are mourning the loss of a true cinematic chameleon, someone who could become anyone, inhabit any soul, and make it feel real. The time of this writing, there are no official announcements about Kilmer's casket or burial location. His children, Mercedes and Jack Kilmer, are overseeing the funeral arrangements. They have asked for privacy during this time, and no details have been made public about where their father will be laid to rest or what form the ceremony will take. It's hard to imagine a Hollywood without Val Kilmer. His career was a tapestry of bold choices and unforgettable performances. In Top Gun, he portrayed Tom "Iceman" Kazansky, the confident, competitive pilot whose cool demeanor clashed with Tom Cruise's Maverick. Kilmer brought an intensity to the role that made Iceman both an antagonist and an icon. That character, equal parts arrogance and discipline, became a symbol of 1980s cinema and helped cement Kilmer's place in Hollywood. But he wasn't content to play the same type of role over and over. He challenged himself and his audience. In The Doors, he transformed into Jim Morrison with such conviction that even surviving members of the band were stunned by the authenticity of his portrayal. He didn't just act. He became Morrison, capturing the tortured genius and wild spirit of the rock icon. Performance remains one of the most electrifying in biopic history. And then there was Tombstone. As Doc Holliday, Kilmer gave one of the most iconic Western performances of all time. With a southern drawl, a gambler's charm, and a deathbed wit, he turned what could have been a sidekick role into a cinematic masterpiece. His line, "I'm your Huckleberry," is now etched in pop culture history, a testament to his ability to deliver dialogue with such gravitas and flair that it lingers in the minds of audiences for decades. Val Kilmer was more than just a Hollywood star. He was a true artist. A deeply introspective man, he channeled his emotions not just through acting but through poetry, painting, and prose. His memoir, I'm Your Huckleberry, offers a raw and intimate glimpse into his life, the highs and the lows, the fame and the fragility. In it, Kilmer doesn't shy away from pain or vulnerability. He reflects on his childhood, his family, his relationships, his triumphs, and his regrets. He opens up about spirituality, about faith, and about the winding path that took him from stage plays in New York to the Hollywood Walk of Fame. In many ways, Kilmer's story is one of transformation. He began his journey as a classically trained actor with a dream of serious theater, and wound up becoming one of the most recognizable faces of blockbuster cinema. But unlike many of his peers, he never seemed to chase the spotlight. He was drawn to the work, to the characters, to the craft. That's why his roles felt so genuine, so lived in. Whether playing a rock legend, a superhero, or a dying gunman, Kilmer brought authenticity and depth that few could match. Even as his health declined, he found new ways to express himself. He co-produced a powerful documentary simply titled Val, which used years of home footage and personal recordings to chart his journey. The film, released in 2021, was both a tribute and a farewell. It showed the man behind the myth, the vulnerability, the humor, the stubborn will to keep creating despite unimaginable obstacles. Viewers watched him communicate through a voice box, his speech altered but his spirit unchanged. The documentary wasn't just about fame. It was about what it means to live, to love, to lose, and to keep going. In his final years, Kilmer was often visited by close friends and collaborators, many of whom spoke of his wisdom, his sense of humor, and his unwavering belief in the power of storytelling. He may have lost his voice, but he never lost his voice. There's a difference. And anyone who spent time with him during those years knew that his presence remained magnetic, his insights profound. As news of his death spreads, tributes are pouring in from all corners of the world. Fellow actors have shared stories of working with him, of learning from him. Fans have posted clips of their favorite scenes, remembering how his performances moved them. Directors have spoken about his commitment, his courage, and his often underappreciated genius. There's a sense of collective mourning, not just for the man but for what he represented, a kind of artistry that is increasingly rare. Val Kilmer leaves behind 2 children, Mercedes and Jack, both of whom have followed creative paths. In interviews, he often spoke of his pride in them. He called fatherhood his greatest role, and even during his illness, he remained deeply connected to his children. Jack has acted in films while Mercedes has worked in both modeling and activism. They were by his side in the final days, ensuring that his final chapter was written with love, dignity, and peace. Though his physical voice may be gone, his artistic voice echoes louder than ever. His performances remain timeless and alive. His words in books and interviews continue to inspire. His art in all its forms speaks for him now. That's the beauty of what Val Kilmer gave to the world. He gave pieces of himself, and those pieces endure. In a time when celebrity often feels shallow and performative, Kilmer stood apart. He was never the loudest, never the most glamorous, but he was always sincere. He gave everything to his craft. And in doing so, he helped others feel seen, heard, understood. That is a legacy not easily forgotten. Val Kilmer once said that he didn't want to be remembered just as an actor, but as someone who loved deeply, who created fearlessly, and who sought truth in every role. And in the end, that's exactly who he was. Not just a Hollywood star. Not just a character on a screen. But a human being who dared to live fully and love endlessly, even when the cameras stopped rolling.